Welcome back, truth seekers. Today, Trumpolophagus reminded us that billions in research funding can vanish if a university doesn't meet his approval. Harvard faced the freeze and fought back, simply defending academic freedom. And he didn't stop there. Yale, Princeton, Columbia all came under scrutiny. Essentially, the federal government tried to turn taxpayer dollars into political leverage. That's billions of dollars threatened, not because of poor research, but because someone spoke freely.
The Trump administration appeals a ruling restoring $2.7 billion in frozen research funds to Harvard University. The appeal was filed last night. It follows through on the Trump administration's promise to challenge the September ruling. The judge had concluded the cuts were retaliatory measures aimed at punishing Harvard for protected speech and violated the Constitution.
Retaliatory measures.
Are you stupid or something?
Harvard's funding was frozen, but not because they mismanaged money, but because someone spoke. That's the First Amendment action. Getting tested against executive overreach. Meanwhile, Trumpolophagus and the Amen chorus want you to believe this is about principle, while treating the Constitution like a suggestion box. Imagine if your paycheck disappeared just for you speaking your mind. That's basically what's happening here.
Tonight, Harvard is celebrating a legal victory over the Trump administration. A federal judge rules the government broke the law when it cut off more than $2 billion in federal funding.
But as Courtney Cole shows us tonight, the White House is already vowing to appeal.
David and Lisa, it was a split decision from the judge, but ultimately a win for Harvard. The ruling found the Trump administration was right to call out Harvard's subpar record on battling anti-Semitism. However, the judge ruled that was not the White House's true reason for freezing federal dollars and research grants, calling it a, quote, smokescreen for a targeted, ideologically motivated assault on this country's premier universities. Today, Harvard students were vindicated by the court's decision.
But it made me happy to know that the judicial system is sticking up for us and that they'll have our back, and they're always going to fight for the truth and fight for an institution that also cares about the truth.
You know, a lot of that money is being used for life-saving research to advance, research in Alzheimer's, cancer. It's being put to good causes, and it's not like the advances that are being made from Harvard are insular. They're to help the general public.
Tonight, the White House says Harvard does not have a constitutional right to taxpayer dollars, and they believe this decision will be overturned in appeal. Harvard was the first university.
Smokescreen!
America first.
You are the worst thing that has happened to this country.
$1 billion punishments disguised as morality. It's like dressing the pig in a tuxedo and calling it a guest speaker.
What do you mean by that?
The courts saw through it. But here's the thing. While Trumpolophagus was tweeting about principles,
President Trump ought to stop tweeting and start leading.
The rest of us have to sit back and watch a national experiment in absurdity.
But the president is mentally unbalanced.
And let's be honest, if the Constitution had a face, it would be doing the side eye right now. Yale, Columbia, Princeton, watching their backs. Harvard standing tall. And the public stuck in the middle, wondering if our money is funding cures or political temper tantrums.
Where's my money? You gonna give me my money? Where's my money, man?
Honestly, that makes me very relieved because I have like big research goals. I know other people here also have like research goals. They want to have their projects funded. They want to have their own startups. And these are really cool ideas that I think need to be supported. So I've been wanting to like create like custom stem cell therapies for heart disease. And obviously like that needs funding, that needs support. So specifically for me, this funding not being cut is funding that can come towards my project, come towards my goals. And hopefully in the future, like this is a goal that can like become realized and enter the market. But it made me happy to know that like the judicial system is sticking up for us and that they'll have our back and they're always gonna like fight for the truth and fight for an institution that also cares about the truth.
I think it's fantastic news. I think obviously it's very justified and that the administration's actions were overstepping their boundaries and were unlawful. Again, a lot of that money is being used for life-saving research to advance, research in Alzheimer's, cancer. It's being put to good causes, and it's not like the advances that are being made from Harvard are insular. They're to help the general public. So I think it's really exciting news. I think it's probably going to be appealed, but I hope that it holds true. But I think it's a good start.
I mean, honestly, that makes me very relieved because I have big research goals. This funding not being cut is a funding that can come towards many projects of mine, pretty projects. Come towards my goals. A lot of that money is being used for life-saving research, not insular. It helps the general public. And here's the human impact. Students dreaming big, research that can save lives, startups aiming to fix real problems. The government tried to punish people who are literally helping the public. Damn! And the courts, they stepped in. By the way, if this is your first time seeking with us, welcome. You're officially one of the truth seekers. For our family who's been here with us from the very beginning, thank you for keeping this independent. Like, subscribe, leave a comment, even if a short one. Every click tells the algorithm that truth still has an audience. We fact check power, argue with receipts, and refuse to let anyone, especially Trumpolopius or the Amen chorus, outsource our brains. So here's the pattern. Harvard stands firm. Yale and Princeton watch nervously. And the Constitution watches helplessly. Billions are tossed around like props in a reality show. Trumpolopius wants you to think this is about law, and order, and principle. But the only consistent thing is chaos. Meanwhile, the rest of us are all left out wondering, how many more schools? How many more research projects? How many more lives will be collateral in this game of executive egos? Democracy, science, and truth aren't optional. And if we don't pay attention, we're the ones left holding the bill, literally and metaphorically. That's the truth. That's what being a truth seeker is all about. Watching, asking questions, keeping our eyes wide open.